Kids love to play games, whether it's board games, video games, or just making up games as part of playing throughout the day. Paul Vasey is the founder of Cash Crunch Games, so I asked him to join us to share what we learn when we play a game like Monopoly or Payday, or even how our children can learn money lessons by making a game out of going to the grocery store. Welcome to the MapleMoney Show, the podcast that helps Canadians improve their personal finances to create lasting financial freedom. Our sponsor this week is Borrowell. They've conducted a study which showed a correlation between the frequency of checking your credit score and a credit score increase. To begin increasing your credit score, head over to MapleMoney.com/Borrowell. Now here's Paul. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the Maple Money Show.
Hey, Tom. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
So I wanted to have you on. You make a couple games around personal finance, and I kind of wanted to go through how games help people with their finances and different levels within that, the different age groups. Not just your game, but other games too, and we'll kind of see what we can learn from games. Not every game has to be like my kids, they're always playing video games. A lot of those games they're not learning from.
Oh, well, you say that, but actually in another way, I mean, kids are playing Fortnite and they're learning about delayed gratification and learning about objectives and things like that. I mean,
true.
If you think about a game, go one step before that. I mean, when you were learning to drive your car and you had your lessons, were you ever in the passenger seat talking to your dad and going, or your mom, and saying, "Hey, mom, dad, you should have your hands at 10 to 2. You didn't do your mirror signal maneuver. You didn't do this. You're breaking the rules. You're going too fast." Did you, once you got some experience, you had some knowledge, did you ever tell your parents, even though they've been driving for 20 years, how to drive? Did you ever?
Yeah, I probably did. Yeah.
Right? Well, that's what happens. As a school teacher, I used to do this where you teach kids out of a textbook and everything else, and you teach finance and they just glaze over. But what I realized was when you make somebody an expert and you give them an experience, they will talk about that and they will understand, hey, well, I actually did this. I can tell you I'm an expert. Listen to what I've got to say. So games in a way are fantastic for doing that, because if you were talking about, let's say, cash flow, and you say to your kid, hey, today is your pocket money or your allowance. Here you go. How much are you going to spend? What are you going to do? And they'll look at you and go, I don't know. But if you actually said, hey, we played Monopoly last night, and you remember when I had the hotel and you lost your money? Oh yeah, I remember that. So what are you going to do next time? Well, I'm going to get in there and buy a hotel first because I lost my money and I'm going to get the money off you. Now, all of a sudden you've given them an experience, which means now they've got something to think about and apply, and they become an expert, and you're actually having a conversation. So then it allows you to direct the conversation into all the different areas. If you think about it, money is about cash flow because it's money in and out on a daily basis. Yeah. You might have risk and reward with insurance and things like that. The denomination's even counting up the money. How much money did you have? What was your net worth? All these things that we talk about, which kids have no idea what you're really on about. But if you put it into context of something of what they've done, that's actually how games bring those experiences out and that content and those concepts really, really easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. We just the previous week we had Matt Matheson here in Canada. He was on and he was sort of talking about teachable moments with kids. Yeah. The idea that when something happens, you can turn it into a teachable moment, and that kind of reminds me of what you just said. Like you can play a game and just take it at the face value of entertainment, or you can kind of help the kids explain it. Something like Monopoly is probably the most famous game around money. One issue I find with it though is like you were talking about, is it almost encourages all this massive rush of spending at the beginning because everybody's got to get those
right. So, but then again, that strategy as well, because yes, you have that massive spending, but if you're not thinking about it properly, you're just buying random properties. Sometimes by overspending, you haven't got enough to pay your bills with because someone else puts houses and hotels, and you get absolutely nailed and you have no money. So sometimes you say you have to buy some, but if you spend too much and you get some bills, you haven't got anything to pay, and you've got to start selling things at below price and all those kind of things. So there is a lot of that, but I guess you just got to pick your lessons with a monopoly, really.
Yeah, I guess if with something like Monopoly, if you're doing all that buying at first, at least it's with cash. You're not you can't actually start out with the mortgage, so that's
right. Yeah, and they actually borrow. You can actually borrow money against the bank, and new ones. There's the credit card function in there, and everything else. Yeah.
I've seen that one. That's that makes it interesting.
And the new Monopoly, is one for millennials that you don't even buy property. It's about experiences. Well, that's what I've read anyway. You can't afford the property.
That sounds very stereotypical millennial. That they don't want somewhere to live. They just want experience.
Yeah, there's always someone's floor and couch to live, sofa to live on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Another game I liked a lot. That's another huge one is the game of life. It gets a little bit more into education and careers and how those choices affect your outcome. Which also reminds me a lot. You've got is it called Cash Crunch Careers?
Yep, it certainly is. Yeah.
So just the idea that you can also maybe you can go into sort of how careers can be portrayed in games.
Well, I mean, there's a thing, and but just going back one thing. I mean, I've got a careers platform where we match people to their traits and everything else. But a lot of the time, when you ask people, "What do you want to do?" and say, "Well, I want to do this," but one of the first questions they ask you is actually, "What does it pay?" Not, "Will I actually enjoy the job?" Because we work 50% of our lives. It's literally, "What does it pay so I can live?" But if you flip it around and you actually get the money habits sorted, so you're living within your means, you could almost pick whatever job or career you want because you got your spending under control. So now you're more likely to find a career that you're going to enjoy. So Game of Life is good in terms of at least starting to figure out what things pay and then joining in with money so that you're learning to live within your means. I mean, that's the beauty of it.
I like your idea of being able to get your money sorted first so that you can pick a career that you like, because nowadays everybody's bouncing from career to career anyways. So obviously picking when you're 18 based on money alone isn't always the best choice, right?
No, well, you don't know what you don't know. A lot of the time, I mean, I was just talking to my wife and say, I was watching things about linemen, the other day where they're up there fixing electricity, and there's so many things that you could do, even in the armed forces. You could be a painter, you could be a vet, you could be whatever. And I didn't know. I just thought it was digging trenches, being either a mechanic and electrician. But the point is, there's so much that we don't know and what would best suit us. But if we actually understand what's out there and what's going to match us, but also we know we've got our money under control, it's not going to stop you going out there and choosing things you want to do. So I think it's very important that you figure that out.
Nice. There's a third game I wanted to bring up, and this is it for the mainstream games. One that I really liked a lot, and I think I can see that the lesson of it is Payday. Do you know that one?
I do.
Okay. I just find that, as far as I remember, I haven't played it for a while, but the idea that you're getting paid, you're paying bills, it seems very budgeting based.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, and actually, ironically, with a calendar, you get to see the inflow and the outflow, and then when you see, oh my giddy aunt, where has my money gone? I mean, I know a lot of people go, I got paid, but where's my money gone? And that's the beauty of Payday. You actually see where your money's gone over the month, and that's a big wake up call for people. And it's true life. There's a lot of games out there that don't give a lot of reality, but they give you the lessons. But I also think that sometimes you need to make it like life. So you actually go, you connect the dots and you go, oh, right, yeah, I've just swiped my credit card and I have to pay that money. I mean, a lot of people don't know that when you use your credit card, in essence, you're borrowing money from a financial institution. And if you don't pay it back on time, you're going to get loan shark rates of interest. But people don't see that. So, Payday is phenomenal like that. That's been a very, very popular game. I think it was in the 1970s that it was brought out, or 60s. There's been so many iterations of it.
Yeah. It's certainly, yeah. It's been around as long as I have, because I remember playing that early on. Those three were kind of the mainstream ones.
Yeah.
But let's get into stuff that's a little more made for personal finance. It's a little more on purpose. Something like Cash Flow 101 is Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And
he's done wonderful stuff.
Yeah, and that's a decent game for adults where it's getting into more investing in real estate.
Right, but my only issue is that it's great, just like Monopoly and all the other games, is that once you've got the money, it's all about passive income and getting, like Cash Flow 101 is about getting out of the rat race. So you have your money, and then you're able to do this with your money, to invest, to look at passive income for returns on your investment, and you have enough return on your investment to the point that you can give up your job and live happily ever after. But what it doesn't take into account is the getting the money, because a lot of times you need to get that deposit to buy that property.
Yeah.
And if you live, I think it was Gene Chatsky at FinCom where we were, 78% of US, Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So how are they going to get that $20,000 deposit when there's nothing left at the end of the month?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point. That's the area that's missing. So you become the have-nots, will not become the haves until they learn how to get their money management sorted. And then Cash Flow 101 is brilliant, because then it teaches you to think about investing and getting your money back. Just like Monopoly. Buy a property, put houses, hotels, you get your money back.
So it's sort of what can you do with that extra cash once you have extra cash?
Once you have it. Exactly. Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Now, Cash Flow also made something, I don't know a lot about it, but there was Cash Flow for Kids, which also reminds me of, you've got Cash Crunch Junior. Can you kind of explain how that works?
So Cash Crunch Junior, I mean, I just took what I thought what kids needed to do in the classroom, but also what we need to learn to turn the have-nots into haves. So Cash Crunch Junior is a physical board game for ages 5 to 12, which basically teaches them the value of money, saving first, looking at when you spend something, where's the money going. So when at the end of the round of the month, there's a pile of money there in debit debt to show that you've spent that money, you got your cash, and you got your savings. So we're literally just teaching you to save first, spend later, so that you have that money and you're not living paycheck to paycheck. So you're taking a bit of, like, pay yourself first. I mean, that's what David Bach said, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'm saying save first. So you're taking some out of that, and whatever you left, you can spend. Meanwhile, you've got some money left over here, which will accumulate to be able to become the have-nots, to become the haves. So in the end, by the end of the year, you have money to do what you want with it, as well as learning to save. So that's the premise of the Cash Crunch games. We teach you the value of money first, so that you can do all the other stuff later. Nice.
Another game I should mention along with that. So there was Cash Flow for Kids and Cash Crunch Junior. Another one I found that looked interesting was Thrive Time for Teens. I hadn't heard of it before, but it seems to be pretty highly rated as another board game option.
Yeah.
Another one I found that looked good for kids was the allowance game. It's the idea of doing chores to earn money. What's your thoughts on something like that, where you can kind of teach kids sort of how to earn their way?
Look at big picture. I mean, you're a parent, so your boys, if you teach them, I mean, there's got to be a bit of the fact that the worst case is that allowance for money means that, and I know Famzu, says that if you're forever giving him an allowance, all they'll do is when you say, can you help your mom get the groceries out of the cart? No, not unless you pay me. Yeah, that's the extreme. But on the other hand, what they're learning is that time equals money, the value of money. If you want money, you got to work for it rather than just having your hand out. So there is got to be a happy medium. But I'm all for allowances. The fact that if you want to earn more money, you got to go out and get it. It's not just handed to you. And the fact that once you have earned that money, you will learn the value of the money because it's taking you so long to get it, that when you spend it, it's gone. And is it been worth your time? Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm a big proponent of an allowance, especially if there's chores I mean, I had to cut the grass every week. That was my responsibility. And, you know, occasionally wash cars. And if there was anything else my mom wanted me to do, run my sister around town in the car and do, you know, driving duties, you know, all those kind of things. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And I valued that in the end, because now you're putting a value on work ethic, reliability, watching your money, learning the value of money. So for me, I think an allowance is a big thing. But on the other side of it, you've got to say, well, if your mom asks you to do something, you go, no, what's it worth? Pay me first and I'll go and do it. Then it's gone too far. And that needs to be, that's the big problem.
So are you more a fan then of this idea of maybe you do chores, you get one set allowance, not you get $1 for everything you do kind of thing?
Yeah, but if you want, oh yeah, absolutely. But if you want extra money, then maybe you say to your parents, hey, are there any chores around the house that I can do to earn more money? And there are always things to do. I mean, there is always things to do. And I think that's the way that even as an entrepreneur, you know, that teaches you that there's always money, there's always something to do, and that you're willing to think about, well, how can I make more money? What needs doing, and being prepared to look for opportunities.
Okay,
I think that's a big thing.
That's where I think I'm headed with my kids is this idea of sort of a base allowance for the expected chores.
Yeah.
Something I was proud that they had done. Speaking of games, they earned a bunch of money through chores, the two of them, and they saved it up towards a Wii U at the time, a couple of years ago, and I was proud that they had done that, but I felt like I did it a little backwards, because it really was like every single chore was worth $1 or $2, and they
were picking and choosing.
well, not just that, but it was there wasn't sort of this flat, this is your allowance and you're expected to do this stuff. It was like every single thing you do has a dollar value to it.
Yeah, but the thing is, but if you go one step further and you realize that, you know, some things are more valuable than others. So they're actually learning that what is their time worth. So that's a lesson in itself. Sure. I mean, a lot of people, I mean, classic, and when I go into classrooms, I teach this, is the fact that, and you see the light bulbs go on and say, right, you know, you work at McDonald's, you work somewhere and you earn $12 an hour. Take off your tax. It's $10 you're left with after you paid your bills. Now all of a sudden you go into a store and you want to buy some shoes for $40. Is it worth 4 hours of your time? Yes or no?
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
think that's half a day at school. Is it half a day of school worth those sneakers? And then some people go, no. Yeah. But the point is, they're making that connection, which is a big thing. But also kudos to your boys for actually saving up to buy that together.
Yeah.
Now they'll value it and they will look after it. So when one's in a tantrum and throwing things on the floor, they're not going to do that because they bought that. So they're going to look after it. You know, so when you put value on, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I'll stop to see. This is starting to sound like last week's episode too, but it's I'm trying to.
We have common themes
with this right now of trying to figure out what's right with them, but I'll get there.
Yeah. Well, parenting 101. I mean, there's so many books out there, but only what goes on behind closed doors is what you do. I mean, at the end of the day, that's you got to choose your path and what you think's right. There's no right and wrong path. It's what's right for you and your family.
True. Good. Okay. So speaking, we just brought up the Wii U. Let's talk about video games. Personally, when I was kind of looking into this before our episode, I didn't really see a lot that really struck me as being truly personal finance. I guess it's about finding those teachable lessons, because other than something like a Sim City, maybe like where you're really learning that sort of money and resources, there just didn't seem to be a lot. I know you've got Cash Crunch 101, but beyond that, I wasn't finding a whole lot. What's your thought about video games related to personal finance?
Well, there's an old saying, why did Bonnie and Clyde rob banks? Because that's where the money is, right? So if you think about it, where are the kids?
Yeah.
So I mean, I know physical board games are coming back now, and that's a great way for families to sit around a table and then play and engage. But if you want them to learn things quickly, you go where the kids are. And unfortunately, they're on their phones or on their tablets or on PC or whatever. So it does have its value. But all I would say again is that Um, I think a lot of the financial literacy has got to come from the parents or the teachers teaching, because a lot of kids, if they knew if it was a money game straight up, they just wouldn't play it. It's just like boring. I'd rather go and do something and shoot people or race or do something. But if you can actually bring ideas in, and then maybe what the parent does is you get them playing games, and then you go, well, okay, so what, you were racing cars. Why did you choose that car? Oh, it had these tires and it had this handling and this speed. Well, why did you do it? And then you can actually maybe bring that into money and say, well, if we had money to spend, what would you choose and why? You know, getting the best value for what their budget is. I mean, that's the way you do it. So, you know, if you can be creative and think about that. I mean, I'm not a big lover of video games. I don't play them. I'm not a big lover of it. I'd rather be outdoors. But I wanted to make a difference with personal finance with kids, and they just happen to be on the computer. So that's where I've got to go, you know, rather than fighting against a movement. So we have physical board games and online games, but I think it's very important to put concepts in there that the kids need for the future.
Yeah. And again, like you're saying, is if you find those times where you can teach them something, you can probably do that out of almost any game.
You can make a game even well, yeah, online, but even when you're in the grocery store, right? We're buying 10 items, put one back. What's the sales tax going to be? You know, pay the lady properly in money. What's the change? Check the change. Let's how much money who's going to win? The closest to total wins. You know, you can get them counting mentally up. We've got $20 for this meal. Let's do a budget. You know, there's so many things you can do and make it into a game. And the kids buy into this and they remember that. Yeah,
I like that idea of making a game pretty much out of anything. We bring the kids to the grocery store. It'd be great to, and they do help. They just physically help get the groceries. I'll send them off for certain things, but I'll see if I can work math games into that.
Well, take it one next thing. Next time you're buying ketchup or you're buying something, get them to look at the unit price and see, is it better to buy a big box or a little box? You know, or I've only got $6 and I need these 4 items. Go and find them for me. And you can say, well, buying something that's, you know, a luxury item versus an own label good. Yeah. And that's 3 times the price of that. Is that 3 times as tasty as that? You know, there's all these things you can actually have conversations, and then they can make their own mind up. Or, hey, we're making dinner tonight. We've got $12 for 4 of us. That's $3 a piece. What are we going to eat? You know, and I know that some people have said, right, you're in charge of dinner tonight. What are we going to eat? And they go and choose all the ingredients. And you help them cook it, but that's their dinner. And they've looked at the price and what they want to eat and how they're going to get it. And it gives them a whole new perspective on the grocery bill. For you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that. I was totally thinking games is just board games and video games, but I think I could get more mileage out of this idea of just creating games in everything we do every single day.
Yep. I mean, you've played I Spy in the car, haven't you? I Spy with Idle Eyes. So maybe that's okay. Yeah. And that was invented to stop kids getting bored. And they're looking around for stuff, aren't they? I mean, this games is not boards and online. Games is everything that engages you. I mean, that's the idea. Gamification is engaging. Mm-hmm. So if you look at it that way.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to try this out with my kids because something like I Spy hasn't been holding up as well now that they're getting older. It used to work great. You could keep them.
Yeah, they get a bit old for that now.
Yeah, they get distracted easily, probably because of things like video games. But it's hard to hold their attention in a car ride or on the airplane or something. So anything I can do to keep them entertained and hopefully teach them something. One of the things I've mentioned in the past on this show is I left the school system not very good with finances. So I really want to make sure that I teach my kids how this really works instead of them doing the same thing I did, which is like you get into college and just go in the hole with credit cards and spending your student loans and everything.
So that's why you came up with MapleMoney then, really. I mean, that was one of your motivations.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. It's hopefully stopping people from making the same mistakes I did. Because I went through school, I did great at something like math, but it doesn't really help you when it comes to how to deal with things like credit and stuff. I know your Cash Crunch 101 does a lot of credit, right? Like it gets into credit cards and credit scores and stuff. So that something like that would be so much more helpful, or just a proper school curriculum around personal finance. But something.
But that's the crazy thing. We use money every single day, but we're not allowed to talk about it. I mean, it was always a taboo subject. Well, how much do you earn? How much do I earn? I mean, that's one of the rudest things. People say that's one of the rudest questions. So, Tom, how much do you earn a year? That's one of the rudest questions you can ask somebody.
Yeah.
But not like, well, so Tom, I know you earn money and you own half of Canada. You're a mogul. But what do you spend your money on, or how do you spend your money is a different question.
True.
In terms of when you get your money, Tom, what do you do with it? That's a different question to actually how much do you earn. We deal with money every day, but we don't know how to manage it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
I've seen a long time ago, I've seen things like real estate agents I knew. They'd earn a ton of money, but they couldn't pay their bills at the end of the month. And it's just how they were managing it. They were spending it all. And even though they made way more money than I was making, it's like they couldn't pay their bills at the end of the month.
Right. It's money management. And then guess what? When you get a pay rise or you get something, what do? You pick up another bill, or you go from shopping at a Navy store to a Gap store to a Banana Republic to, you keep going up and up and up, don't you? You go to the next stage, or you buy an SUV, and then you buy an SUV with all the bells and whistles, and you go to the more expensive brand. That's all you do. You step up, rather than, let me stay here, let me control my money, let me have more of it, so then I can invest it to make money, to give me more money. Then I can do those things. They kind of miss that step out of the, let's reinvest in ourselves to make more money, then I can slowly rise. They just want to go straight there, don't they? Miss all this step out.
Well, and that's because there's no education around this with these games. Like if people learn these ideas without knowing these concepts, then it's just simply, I have this money, I'm going to spend this money, and then you get that lifestyle inflation as you go.
Yeah.
So before we run, can you let everybody? We kind of mentioned these games, but can you just kind of run through everything that you have and where people can find you online?
Sure. So first of all, you can find this on cashcrunchgames.com. And the reason why I came up with Cash Crunch Games is like the credit crunch. 1 minute you have it, next minute you don't, and you've been squeezed. So if you spend your money, you've been squeezed, you've got no money. So cashcrunchgames.com. We have a board game for ages 5 to 12, which is a physical board game. You play 20 minutes, 30 minutes, teaches the basics of money habits, save first, spend later, cash flow, budgeting, opportunity costs, all those kind of things. And then we have Cash Crunch 101, which is a new version coming out, which is an online game that teaches for ages 13 to 21, 13 adult upwards, and teaches the same principles of saving first, spending later, opportunity cost. We also have credit cards in, and when you pay your bills in the game, a bit like Payday, you've got a choice of using a credit card or a debit card. So now you've got two things that fix you, and then that's related to your credit card statements and all those kind of things. And we have bite-sized lessons where if you're not too happy about teaching personal finance, there's lessons written for you in 30-minute chunks, which gives you reading material and activities. And we have Cash Crunch Careers, which basically helps you find the right career for you. So when you find that career, you're going to excel quickly. So hopefully what we're trying to do is get your money habits sorted so that when you get into career, you can choose the career you want and not having to worry about money. So that's what I have.
Great. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Paul, for the fun episode about money and games. You can find show notes for this episode at MapleMoney.com/Paul Vasey, or check out all the episodes at MapleMoney.com/show. Thanks as always to you for downloading this episode. If you want to find out more about all the games we discussed and more, head over to MapleMoney.com/games, and I'll see you next week.